Scott, a massive game dropped yesterday into early access. It's definitely a hot thing happening as of late. And Hades 2 just made it even bigger. Samuel Tolbert, Windows Central. Hades 2 is now available in early access. As shared by Supergiant Games on Monday, the sequel to the 2020 roguelike adventure is bringing a new protagonist to the dark world of Greek mythology and witchcraft. And players can dive in right now through the Steam or Epic Game stores. Scott, while the game isn't complete yet, Supergiant Games notes that Hades 2 early access already features, quote, more environments, foes, and fully voiced characters, end quote, than the full release of the original Hades did. Hades 2 is also Steam Deck verified. I do appreciate that, especially now that I
thought you might.
Yeah. So players who want to use Valve's handheld can jump right in alongside Windows PC users. A handful of players previously got to try an even earlier version of the game through a Hades 2 technical test, which is now over. Progress won't carry over from the test to the early access, so if you played it and then got it, you'll just be starting over. So just a heads up. Hades 2 right now, early access $30. While we don't know if the price will be raised later on or not, Supergiant Games does say it's a possibility. As a result, you might end up saving money by buying it now. But we'll have to wait and see how things go. Will Hades 2 be available elsewhere is the biggest question. Scott, Hades 2 early access is limited to PC users, but the full game won't be. Supergiant Games previously shared that the intent is for it to be available on consoles as well. While this doesn't include specific platforms, the original Hades was available on Nintendo Switch before being ported over to the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, and PlayStation 4. It's very possible, if not outright likely, that this will happen with Hades 2 as well. Hades 2 is expected to be in early access through at least the end of 2024, and Supergiant Games has not given a release window for the full game. Scott, you jumping in at all?
I am. I'm certainly want to get onto that on the Xbox platform because I want the achievements for it. And although if I could find the time for it, I would grab it very early. Yesterday when this dropped, I thought, oh man, I really want to play it. I went to go look for the first one, but the first one's no longer on Game Pass, so I am out of luck for now. But I can't wait for this to actually. It sounds like 2025 has a star in it before we get to Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Oh man, 2025 is gonna be a big year. Hades 2, I think, would benefit maybe from even launching this year. I think anything would benefit from getting out of the way of GTA 6. I think at this point, right? Like, this isn't gonna be a bigger game. But Hades 2 right now, everybody in early access, from what I saw when it dropped, everybody's just exploded about it. It has hit huge numbers. It's already doubled the numbers than its first launch, than the first game in Hades 1. So Hades 2, dude, I looked at it yesterday. I really did. I went, $30. Do I have the time? Is the biggest question. Right? Yeah,
that's always the problem. So many games, so little time.
Yeah, but Hades, dude, is a beloved game. Supergiant nailed something special there. And the thing is, Supergiant doesn't typically do sequels. So the fact that we're getting a Hades 2 is something big. This is a big move from the studio themselves. It's not something of their typical nature. They normally just one game on to the next, right? One game on to the next. They don't follow up with a sequel. So if they're coming out with a sequel for Hades 2 now, maybe now might be the time to jump in. But it is a roguelike. So how tough is it, Scott? Like right now, I'm having a bit of a hard time, honestly, and no rest for the wicked. But I'm having so much fun at the same time that I can't put it down. Can I do the same thing?
Admittedly, I got beat up pretty badly by the first game. Those twins got me. But to hear that this game has the size of Hades 1 already and it's in early access, it's incredible that they're gonna outdo themselves. I think so. I sure hope so.
Yeah, and then eventually we'll get it on other consoles, right? But now I'm going, I could use something else to play on my Steam Deck. Let's see how this goes, right? So it's just, but it's a time thing, man. There's so many things happening all the time. But Hades 2, I'm just happy for Supergiant to have such a massive success out the gate on day one. Early access is a funny way to go. It is something that is, here's the game, but it is not done, right? Like, that's the thing. It's not finished. So expect bugs, hiccups, texture glitches, this, that, and the other. But sometimes, like No Rest for the Wicked, it seems pretty polished up for me. So is Hades 2 the same way? And everybody, dude, the raving reviews came off of it yesterday were just absolutely insane. So I might just have to pick it up, Scott. I think
you're talking me into it.
Yeah. All right. It sounds like you and I are going to pick this up, and we're going to play it. We'll report back next week, maybe. But until then, Scott, everybody should be reporting us over on ITGTV.com. You keep up to date with everything we do there. Hit up our socials as well. You won't miss a thing.